Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Brian, and today we're going to go over kind of a recap of the Week 8 games. I had done a kind of a prediction slash preview of them, and I'm beginning to see a pattern here where I say that a team will likely blow another team out, and they lose. This is kind of hilarious at this point. It's almost like a curse, if you might say. I know popular YouTubers use that term, but it's kind of amusing. So, for example, I said that Louisville would lose to Florida, or Miami rather, because I thought Miami was a clear number two. No way they'd lose. Yep, sure enough. And Minnesota beating Nebraska, not a chance. Did not think that was going to happen. But hey, it's the beauty of college sports, I guess. So yeah, Louisville managed to beat Miami. What's his name? Through four picks. I mean, you're very rarely are you gonna throw four picks and still win a game. That is, yeah, that's not good. So, um, yeah, is it Carson Beck as a quarterback? I can't remember for the life of me. Um, yeah, but to go back, I ain't worried about it. But yes, so they did lose for sure, and I don't know what Miami's going to need to do to get back on track. So Nebraska, that's a whole different question. Nebraska was having trouble to begin with, and good for Minnesota to get the upset win, but Nebraska's going to need to do something to get back on track because they have talent. Dylan Raiola is a good quarterback, but Nebraska, their offensive line just did not look good. So tough loss for Nebraska. Utah State, San Jose State, I believe I called that win. California beat North Carolina. I thought it'd be a bigger gap, but California did win that. Some of the more predictable results: Ohio State, Wisconsin. Ohio State just absolutely dominated Wisconsin. Wasn't even close. Indiana beat Michigan State. Honestly, the score is a lot closer than I thought it would be. But yeah, once again, a predictable result. Indiana's just looking. They're looking like very for real. And their coaches, he's got those boys playing hard. Texas A&M, Arkansas. For some reason, Arkansas is the team that will always play up to their opponents and fall short every time and then lose to some nobody. And you watch them play against Texas A&M, who is a very good team. How do you put 42 points on them and still lose? They did this last week against Tennessee. Like they were winning a couple points to Tennessee too. Like how do you? Uh, Arkansas fans must be in just go losing their minds watching their team play this well against higher ranked teams, just not able to pull it out. So it's crazy. Ole Miss, Georgia. Yeah, Georgia. That was a good game. Two very good teams playing very high level football. So yeah, that was a good game. Congrats to Georgia for pulling out, but Ole Miss is still a really good team. People should not sleep on them. Tennessee, Alabama. Alabama just beat them up. It was Tennessee played okay, but Alabama was clearly the better team that day. Wasn't even the score maybe wasn't quite as indicative of badly how badly beat Tennessee really got towards the end of the game. Beginning of the game it was getting close, but the end of the game Alabama had it. There was no doubt. I definitely got this one wrong. Texas Tech, Arizona State. Texas Tech just dropped the ball. Like they did. Just, scoring just wasn't there. They weren't able to push the ball down the field nearly enough as they needed to. And Arizona State, who was previously ranked during the year, so it's not like this is the worst loss ever. But yeah, Arizona State played just good enough to win. Kind of a somewhat ugly game. Oregon Rutgers, yeah, if you didn't see that coming, I don't know what to tell you. Oregon was pissed at losing to Indiana still. So Rutgers was the unfortunate receiving end of a beating that I think we all saw coming. Vandy beating LSU, and Diego Pavia is the truth. He's exciting to watch even when they lose. But Vandy has proven that they deserve to be ranked. And not only is that, It would not surprise me if they're, if they don't play an SEC championship. It wouldn't surprise me to see them higher up there and maybe even getting a playoff spot. So that'd be kind of cool. Georgia Tech beating Duke. Hey, Georgia Tech, they're still undefeated, and it's the first time since like the 50s or 60s that they're 7-0. And these guys are good, fun to watch too. So keep an eye on them for later in the year. Uh, USC beating Notre Dame. I feel, and this kind of ties into the Michigan game that I covered last week. USC, they don't have consistency. They beat Michigan convincingly. They solidly beat them, and then they go to Notre Dame and just are completely unable to do the same thing. Notre Dame ran all over them. So I think USC, in order to, I think they're a decent team. They, like I said, they beat Michigan, so it's not like they're a bad team. But and they still hung up 24 points on Notre Dame, but their defense just couldn't start giving up plays, and the run game for Notre Dame just kept them off balance. It was Southern California, uh, didn't quite measure up the same way against a clearly better. Well, Notre Dame is clearly better, but it wasn't so much about that as Notre Dame just beat USC in the same way that USC beat Michigan, that being better at their own game. So that is, I think that is important to note when it comes to any teams realistically. But you're better at a when you're better at a team at their own game, then the odds of you winning just go through the roof. And that's what happened in that game. And Notre Dame played them, beat them at their own game, beat them up on the lines, and just outran them. And yeah, it was a good game though. But Notre Dame was, yeah. I feel like that USC Michigan game may have been a little bit of a fluke, but hey, loss is loss. Can't do much about it now. Oklahoma back to their winning ways, beating South Carolina. Good for them. Once again, I'm hoping Oklahoma keeps winning. So if that loss, Michigan's loss to them, still holds value. BYU beating Utah. Hey, BYU's showing, the truth. Good team. And scrappy wins like that are going to count towards the end of the year. Missouri beating Auburn. Um, good game, and glad Missouri won. It's of note that the referee from I think it was a week prior or the week prior to that, Auburn and Georgia game, the head referee has been suspended. Apparently, there's some complaints, and obviously, naturally, that sparked a lot of conversation online about referees being paid off and gambling. And of course, around this time, yesterday, this is the 24th, the 23rd, and 22nd. A bunch of NBA players were arrested by the FBI for a massive gambling ring. So naturally, you get a head referee suspended. The natural follow throughs for people to talk. So yeah, interesting that that came about. But yeah, Missouri beat Auburn. Solid team, good win. This is the one I thought Washington State may have a chance upsetting Virginia. No, Virginia pulled it out, and I'm glad. Virginia, they got a solid team. Um, let's go South Florida, Florida Atlantic. Kind of predictable result. South Florida's quarterback, he's fun to watch. He's a really big, strong guy, so I'm not really surprised about that result. Texas and Kentucky. Texas looks like they did not want to be there. Kentucky looks like they're perfectly comfortable, like at home. I think they had a couple missed field goals that really hurt them, and that kind of fed into that final score. But Texas, I don't know, they're just struggling with consistency. Arch Manning is, I feel like he's a good dude, and I think they just overhyped him, and I think that kind of pressure will get to you. So there's a possibility that's what there's a possibility that kind of hurt him, like not hurt him, but weighs down too much on him. So, um, Memphis UAB. Oh, that's right. That was an upset. UAB was like a 22 point underdog or something like that, and they upset Memphis. I thought Memphis was gonna win. So hey, kudos to them for that. That's a huge upset. Cincinnati beat up Oklahoma State. Everybody's beating Oklahoma State this year, seems like. So that's unfortunate, but another loss for them. UConn, Boston College. That's kind of surprising. UConn is not really a good team, so interesting. I thought Boston College would have that one. Central Michigan beat Bowling Green. Yeah, Maction, good for them. Washington just yeah. So Washington, Michigan. Yeah, I'm not sure I covered that. Did I not? But yeah, Michigan just yeah, Michigan dominated, did everything they needed to do right to beat Washington. They got back to winning in the trenches. They got back to running the ball. Marshall had 300. No, sorry, not 300. Jordan Marshall had 110, 113 yards, something like that. I wish he had 300. Michigan did everything necessary to win that game. They did everything that they got. They got back to who they were, and being dominant on those lines was so key because Washington's quarterback is a dual threat, and for a reason. He knows how to win games with his feet and his arm, and Michigan contained him. They held the Washington's run game outside the quarterback. They held that to, you know, obviously Washington only scored 7, so they did something right in that regard. They held them to pretty low stats. I'd have to look it up again, but all in all, Michigan's defense played solid. There was some areas they still need to improve in, and I think they're still a rattle from losing to USC the way they did. But overall, Michigan went out there and beat them, and it was a solid overall game from a team that was kind of struggling with a previous loss. So kudos to Michigan. Washington, hey, you showed up. On the road is hard, but Michigan went in there and did what they had to do. They cleaned up some of the problems they had with USC, and offensively, they were starting to get back on track. Once again, Bryce Underwood needs to learn how to pass the ball, not throw it. But on the same side of that is it was a good game. Michigan showed up in the trenches in the secondary. Their linebackers are great, so I'm not really so worried about them. But yeah, it was a good game overall. So yeah, Eastern Michigan, Ohio, some more action. Miami, Ben Roethlisberger's alma mater, playing all right. TCU Baylor. It was a good game. TCU won in the end, but both teams really, that was a slugfest. Both teams were fighting it out. Arizona, Houston. I was kind of hoping Arizona would win, but Houston, good morale boost for them. Army, West Point, and Tulane. Tulane pulled it out. Army just couldn't keep up, looks like. UCF beat West Virginia. Everybody's beating West Virginia this year, seems like. Toledo beat Kent State. Battle of the bad. Looks like Toledo or Kent State was just that much worse by about 5 touchdowns. Buffalo, Massachusetts. Hey, kudos to Buffalo for pulling it out. Northwestern beating Purdue. 2 bad Big Ten teams. Turns out Purdue was the worst of the 2 bad Big Ten teams. Troy, ULM. Yeah, hey, good for Troy. They need that one, I imagine. UNLV, Boise State. UNLV is just falling off a cliff after they had a hot start to the season, if I remember correctly, and things just, yeah, haven't gone their way since. Air Force, Wyoming. Good win for Air Force. Wyoming's not a great team, but they have some good players, and they a lot of times they'll punch a little bit above their weight. But Air Force is, that they run the ball constantly, and that's hard to do. It's hard to defend against all game. Ohio, NAU. Yeah, some even more action. Temple, Charlotte. Oh, Charlotte's hurting this year. They're way at the bottom of their conference, so that was a likely predictable scenario. I think I said that they would win. Ball State, Akron. Hey, good for Ball State. I know some folks out that way. So Muncie, Indiana, if I remember correctly. So cool for them. James Madison, Old Dominion, yeah, kind of predictable. James Madison was great last year or the year before, if I remember correctly. So they have a solid program there. SMU beating Clemson. Oh man, Dabo Sweeney. The fall needs to be studied. Oh boy, is just that program is in shambles now. And I thought he was off the hot seat last week. Oh, that's somebody might have turned the heat back on just a little bit. UTSA, North Texas. North Texas, really good team. Like that's surprising. I couldn't have told you that they were going to do that to UTSA. Hey, good for them. Coastal Carolina, App State. Good all-around game for Coastal Carolina. Looks like. Marshall, Texas State. Yeah, Marshall. I'm Texas State is one of those teams that wants to punch higher, but they just fall short. So, still a good game though. Florida, Mississippi State, close one. Florida recently fired Billy Napier, so it's going to be interesting to see who gets picked up. Apparently, they've offered, if I remember right, they offered Lane Kiffin. So, yeah, wait to see if he takes that or if he stays at Ole Miss. I think he stays at Ole Miss, but you never know. It was a pretty high number, not quite 100 million, but if it was 8 or 81 million, something like that. There was 8 in there. So either way, that's a lot of money for somebody to throw at somebody to get them to come coach for you. So the Miss beating the Louisiana Raging Cajuns. I remember it last week. I got ULM and these guys mixed up. Kind of embarrassing, but Southern Miss will pulling that one out. Yeah, Iowa beating Penn State. Penn State is absolutely in shambles. They have fallen off a cliff. Is not words enough to describe what has happened to Penn State. Hopefully they come back next year. Hopefully those kids, that committed to the program are able to kind of bring the heat next year. But this year's a wash. Penn State is done. I they may not win many more games this year, which is kind of sad. Hawaii, Colorado State. Hey, good for Hawaii. Colorado State's quarterback, if I remember correctly, is entering the transfer portal or has some dispute going on. So I don't think he'll be there. He might leave it middle of this season yet. UCLA beat Maryland. Hey, good for UCLA to pick up the remnants of that disaster they had going on. Maryland's a solid team, so looks like it was UCLA was able to hold them back, which is saying something. So good for them. Georgia State, Georgia Southern. Yeah, that game. That's just two teams just going out there, leaving it all on the field. Good for Georgia Southern. Pittsburgh beating Syracuse. Pittsburgh is overachieving once again. I thought Syracuse was going to win, but hey, Pittsburgh is overachieving this year, and then towards the end of the season, they're just going to lose to some nobody and maybe make a bowl game. So they've done that past couple of years. So see if that holds. Close game here, Nevada, New Mexico, 24-22. I think I called it. I wanted New Mexico to win that. So, whew, sorry. Oregon State, Lafayette. Hey, Oregon State finally beat somebody. Might be Division II, but win's a win, right? Florida State, Stanford. Florida State is absolutely in shambles. Mike Norvell, I don't see him being a coach next year. You can't continue to lose those kind of games. So, once again, Michigan did win their game this week against Washington. Good game defensively. I think that they're going to need to continue to be themselves, be Michigan. But at the same time, let Bryce Underwood be an amazing quarterback because he has the potential. Throw the ball, run the ball, beat him up on the line, be physical. Don't be afraid. And I encourage good sportsmanship, but if you need to lay the boom on somebody, don't be afraid to do it. Be physical, be Michigan. So that's how Michigan's gonna, that's how Michigan's gonna continue to win games. Be that physical team that 2 years ago was on top of the world, or on top of the college football world at least. So, all right, well, that was Week 8's games and a kind of recap of all that. Hope you all have a great day, and thanks for watching. Peace.